Welcome to Chapter 3 of World's Longest Suicide Note. I am Roger, and while I am suicidal at times, I am not a mental health professional, life coach, sexual therapist, any of that. I'm not that person. So make sure before you make any big changes in your life that you speak with a trusted source. So much for the disclaimer. We're going to get started today. And just so you know, I will be talking about the painting as I'm doing it. I mean, it's coming. I'm going to be talking about it and kind of what the significance is and what is this all about and, you know, the whole thing. I'm going to be talking about it. So don't worry about that. I know it's just me painting for right now, and you're seeing it hopefully come together a little bit more as we have our little chat. But it will more to come as far as the painting is concerned. All right. So the last time we talked about my psychotic depression. Today we are going to have a chat about, we're going to bring you up on the timeline just a little bit, a few years, because psychotic depression kind of gave way to just regular depression. And really it was because no one really knew how to classify where I had gone with, you know, how I had progressed, meaning that I was still seeing things and still experiencing, but the feelings became more of the driving factor and not what I was seeing. The feelings, my depression got worse as I progressed, and the things that I saw became fairly routine enough to where that wasn't the biggest concern. And so to keep things more relevant, the diagnosis, another diagnosis was made of major MDD, major depressive disorder. Again, another disorder. And I want to say something, you know, as for a lot of folks, and I'm, you know, whenever I start talking, I stop painting. So it is what it is. One thing I think should change, and I would love if I could snap my Thanos glove fingers to change anything. And maybe this isn't the right thing. If I had that power, maybe it'd be something else. But if I had like a couple snappy snaps, instead of just like one, I mean, one of them for sure would be to change the way that people are given diagnoses nowadays. And I can't speak for everyone and their experience and how they were diagnosed. But basically how it worked for me is that they said, oh, you're broken. Maybe not. I'm just kind of paraphrasing. These aren't the exact words. But in the gist of it is like, okay, you're broken. You are not normal. And so let's, you know, according to the book, you have to take these pills, and you have to do these things, and then, you know, happily ever after, blah, blah, blah. But I think that that's flawed, you know. And what I try to tell people when I talk to them is that, look, you are exactly how you were made. You know, so why can't we start with that? Why can't whoever's doing the diagnosing, just say, look, you are exactly how you were made. What if that adds to your belief structure, whatever that is. But no matter what, you are how you were created to be. That being said, you have something called this that may challenge you and everything about living, you know. And so let's build some supports let's give you the education that you need to overcome this so it doesn't have as big an impact on your life. That's what I would like to see, a more compassionate, instead of, okay, you're broken, you're not like everyone else, you have a disorder. It says right on the label, you have a disorder, so let's, follow the rule book. And, so there's two different tacks. It's basically saying the same thing, but it's how it's being said. And I would love to change that. Be more compassionate and understanding as far as that goes, because the first stigma that we receive is from the professional that is diagnosing us and how they do that. So anyway, I'm definitely getting off track, which is what I do. But anyway, back to my diagnosis here. I went from, well, I didn't go from, they're concurrent diagnoses, because I was still dealing with the psychotic depression. This just, my inner dialogue changed dramatically, and the thoughts associated changed dramatically. It was far deeper, darker, and really laid the groundwork for the suicide thing, because it got invasive. I mean, it got to, and really it hasn't changed. It still is. But the severity of the depression and the thoughts that were going through my mind were constantly ramping up in my late teens, early 20s, to a point where, again, I opt out. I want to not have these thoughts and feelings anymore, and I honestly will say that I did try. I have gone down every avenue that was open to me as far as for relief, and I've taken all the medicines, even though the medicines actually really ramped up my desire to kill myself. In essence, it took away kind of my natural ability to fight, which I developed by not going to the professionals in those early years. By kind of dealing with myself, I had some tools that I was using, one of them being art, and I was using the tools to manage what was going on inside my head. But when I took the pills, especially those first, and anyone who's taken any kind of medication, I mean, maybe for anything, but I mean, there's always this first period of time, 2 to 3 week period, where you don't really know if it's working, but what's happening is it's dumbing you down, it's dulling your senses, it's making you really not want to do anything, like fight back the way that you normally would fight back. And so, long story short, once I would tell the practitioner, okay, my feelings of unwell and suicide are enhanced with this, of course they would stop it, and so my journey with medication has been fits and starts, and I have tried the different, over the 40 years of exposure, I've tried a lot of them in combinations, by themselves, with other types of therapies. I mean, I've gone down the road, because if you're gonna bitch and moan about something that's going on with you, you got to make sure that you're doing the work. You just can't, oh, this hurts, and not do something about it. Especially when you're not going for sympathy, which you really, in the early days, I mean, now there's acceptance of mental health and people struggling, and I love to see it, but back in the day, it was not, it wasn't there. It was not there. I mean, so much so, like when I was in the military, it was always something that was told, the myth of the mental health the myth of help. And yes, I lied to, when they asked the question, I lied to get in, for sure. I wasn't going to tell them the truth that I was depressed. And nobody cared. They didn't follow up. Nobody, but when I was in, I was still struggling, and they said, well, I didn't ask individually, but generically, they did say, hey, anyone needing to go see the psychiatrist or psychologist, that's available to you. But they also said that it would be a career ender, that you would not be able to re-enlist if you availed yourself of those tools and got help. It would be the biggest red flag of them all. And I know that that's probably changed since I've gotten out. Things have gotten better as far as that. I still don't know as it relates to the VA. But when I was active duty, it was like, sure, go ahead and good luck. As it turned out, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. I didn't re-enlist. I had other plans, and we'll talk about that at some point. Alrighty. So back to this diagnosis. The biggest difference was how I was feeling, the thoughts I was having, the darkness that was, invading my every day. And as it turns out, for 40 some years, I've woken up with depression. It's just there, dark thoughts and feelings. And I say dark, people get dark, kind of dark, evil stuff, I think Dante had it, too. Some of his images, I just say, oh yeah, Dante's Inferno. That's how I feel. This morning I'm feeling kind of Inferno-esque, that's how it is. And people have seen some of that imagery and they kind of get it, but it's just stuff that nobody really wants to deal with or feel or whatever. And I kind of, when I talk about it now, because it's been such a long time, I may make it seem like it's not a big deal, or, because at the end of the day, I'm going to have it, I'll wake up with it tomorrow. If I wake up, of course I'm going to wake up. Because I'm not actively planning my suicide. So when the diagnosis switched, nothing else really switched. I can't remember if I was on medications at the time or wasn't. It's really, I never really kept a journal at the time, like this is my depression's journal, because it was pretty much the same every day. It would just be a word that I can't bring up right now. As soon as I stop recording, it's going to pop into my head. That's how it works. So, and that diagnosis of major depressive disorder has followed me, and it continues to be a part of my life. But it was kind of the open door for it made the suicide a reality, because it made life unbearable. I've bared it so far. Let me just say that. And I'm planning on continuing to bear it. But it's there. It's always there. So if I act like it's not a big deal, it's just because it's been with me. It's not something that's fresh. It's not something that's, front of mind, because it's there every day. And we tend to minimize those things that we struggle with all the time, because it's, oh yeah, that again. So, but yeah, that really did, that diagnosis and how it developed was the reason why I wanted to first, my first reason why I wanted to kill myself. The next thing that kind of came up from this was that as I got older, as a combo, my anxiety started shooting through the roof. And that's what we're going to talk about during our next time together, is generalized anxiety disorder. That was the partner, the one who aids and abets the depression to no end. So I look forward to speaking with you about that next time. So that'll be our topic. Take good care of yourselves. Talk early and often about everything. If you don't have someone to talk to, find someone to talk to. Throw out a camera and talk to yourself. Say what you're going through. I mean, that's what I'm doing. I mean, I have people to talk to. I don't want to make it sound, oh, I don't have anyone to talk to. I have a lot of people. And I do talk all the time about it. But and next time we'll talk more about anxiety. Ooh, anxiety. It's running rampant nowadays. So until then, take good care of yourselves. And we'll see you soon. Roger out.